Hey guys, how you guys doing? So I am now going to talk about NHI, right? So I'm gonna tell you what I think NHI is, and then I'm gonna watch a video that is gonna better explain what NHI is. So I think that NHI, as I said, is the National Health Insurance, right? And its main focus is to try to get insurance for everyone in the country to get them access into quality healthcare, right? So I've always thought this is gonna work. It's just that it's going to eradicate health insurance companies. I don't know, man, because I didn't actually understand it properly, right? But what I understood is that now everyone is gonna have healthcare insurance, right? And they'll be able to access now even the higher quality private hospitals to be helped. So this is my understanding. Very vague, very basic. And it's wrong of me to not have researched more on this because it's been there for a while now. So let me just watch a video that is going to explain more about it, and then I'm gonna come back maybe later with any commentary that I might have. Oof, let me watch this guy.
Every single national election, the ANC has a shtick, a dream, a big dream that they're trying to sell us to win our votes. Last time round, it was land reform and expropriation and compensation. This year, the ANC is selling us national health insurance, or the NHI. And that is why you are about to hear, and have probably already been hearing, so much about it. National health insurance is amazing in theory, because it aims to make sure that all South Africans, no matter how financially disadvantaged or advantaged they are, can access good quality healthcare. But the ANC trying to do national health insurance looks like it's going to be a total disaster for everyone. And that's not my opinion. That's the opinion of more than 25,000 medical professionals and allied workers who are connected somehow to the medical industry. That's what they said. And the African National Congress is going to talk non-stop about NHI all the way up until the 2024 election. It'll be one of the main reasons that they offer to vote for them, to keep them in power. And so let's talk about national health insurance, why it's such a good idea, but almost certainly a disaster for South Africa, and will it actually happen at all? Welcome to The Issue with Dan Corder. My name is Dan Corder. This is South Africa's watch party, because remember, South Africa is a movie, so come watch it with us. If you're brand new to the channel, just take a second to click subscribe. It costs you nothing, but makes a huge difference to our ability to keep the lights on and keep developing this show. Every single episode of the show exists here in video form, and a longer discussion takes place on the Issue with Dan Corder podcast. You can search for it and find it on Apple and Spotify, Google, everywhere. Right, let's get into it.
Dad is getting to with the changing of hats every 1 minute. I don't think it was something so serious, but it just takes me off. He gets me to not focus a lot. Alright, but let me listen to him.
National health insurance is the ANC's plan to get everybody healthcare, universal healthcare for all South Africans, and good quality healthcare, the kind that usually only people who can afford private healthcare and medical aid currently get in South Africa. It's been a key policy concern for the ANC since at least as far back as the 2008 Polokwane conference, but now it's got to the point where it could be signed into law. The act has passed through the National Council of Provinces just a few days ago, which means it's heading for the president's desk for a final signature from Ramaphosa that would hypothetically make it law. But everyone except the ANC hates the plan. The DA, IFP, Freedom Front Plus, and EFF have all criticized it and taken against it for a variety of reasons, but one of them they share, which is the current disaster of corruption, maladministration, and decaying, dilapidated public healthcare facilities across South Africa that the ANC government has presided over for the last nearly 30 years, particularly in rural and impoverished areas. Lobby groups for big business have called it unworkable, unaffordable, unimplementable, and unconstitutional. But the ANC insists that this act will be revolutionary and it's historic and it's a victory for the poor because it will absolutely do away with inequality of service and access to healthcare in the broader medical industry. And it's already obvious that the ANC believes that this act, once passed, will be a great pitch for them to use to try and convince voters to vote for them again and keep them in power in 2024. After the controversy around the bill passing the National Council of Provinces, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said, "We were elected to fulfill this promise, and we have fulfilled this election promise." Now, let's be honest, the ANC is extraordinarily talented at making promises and not delivering on those promises. For years, they have promised us that they will defeat load shedding and end the energy crisis in South Africa, that they'll fill up all the potholes and provide good infrastructure, that they will root out corruption, that they will fix the police force, that they will make South Africa safer for women and children. And so the ANC has decided that if they can push this one bill through, they can claim that they've fulfilled this promise. They're kind of like somebody who gets married and makes all these promises about death do us part, and then breaks all of them. Doesn't remember to pick up the kids from school, doesn't remember that they need to buy groceries, goes out late at night and spends all the money that they should have spent on groceries. And then suddenly, just when you are fed up, gutful, and want to leave them, they come up with some master stroke plan to make it all better. They're going to fix it with one show of great love and good behavior. And maybe, in their minds, this one grand act will make you forget, or at least forgive, all of the other things that they said that they would do and then didn't. But the ANC claiming that they have fulfilled their promise of providing universal healthcare to all people in South Africa this late before an election is incredibly convenient, because they know that there will be legal challenges and advocacy challenges, that AfroForum might try and take this to the Constitutional Court, and the implementation of the act will be slowed down. And even if they win all of those cases and the act is permitted to be put into law, the act will only really come into effect after the 2024 election, which means that the ANC won't have to actually do anything and won't have to actually prove that they can and are implementing national healthcare insurance effectively before the election. They can just say, we've pushed it through, it's coming. So what is the ANC's NHI plan, and why does no one think it will work? It is an amazing, beautiful, crucial idea in theory. What it says is we're going to create a fund and fill it up with money, and that fund will be used to pay for all of South Africans' healthcare needs, including treatment, but also preventative care and general contributions to good health. And that fund is going to be available to cover the cost of any and all South Africans, whether they can afford to contribute to the fund or not. So hypothetically, this massive fund will be used to pay the bills of any and all South Africans who need any and all kind of healthcare. How much is this going to cost? No one's really sure, but at the very least, hundreds and hundreds of billions of rands a year will need to be in this fund to meet the demand. And where's that money going to come from? The government budget, which is taxpayer money. And what does this mean for private healthcare and medical aid? Well, the NHI bill says that once fully implemented, private healthcare and medical aid will not be allowed to cover or service any form of healthcare that the NHI covers. And the NHI intends to cover basically all healthcare, which means that every single South African would be expected to go to a government institution just like every other South African to receive medical treatment. Now, in an ideal world, this sounds great. If public healthcare can provide as good a quality of service to all South Africans as private healthcare could, you wouldn't need medical aid. You wouldn't need to pay to go to a private facility. You just go to a public one like everybody else, receive outstanding service, and it would all be covered by national health insurance. But this isn't an ideal world. And as much as the ANC government over the last 3 decades has definitely done some good, in recent ANC governments, it's been a shambles. I think we as South Africans become desensitized to certain kinds of stories because there are so many of them, but I can't become desensitized to our healthcare crisis. Here's just a quick, easy Google of South African public healthcare news. Senior nurse shot dead in her car outside of Baragwanath Hospital. Vacancy rate at Baragwanath Hospital higher than internationally acceptable standards. Doctors SOS of critical food shortages at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. How about a different hospital? Charlotte Maxeke owes 276 million rand. Over 2,000 operations have been cancelled at Charlotte Maxeke Hospital. Let's do another one. Northwest Hospital blasted for putting newborn babies in cardboard boxes because they didn't have any or enough incubators. Our public health service has been shambocked, not by lack of funding or lack of skill from the doctors and nurses, but from the ANC government's fundamental lack of care or interest in any of the patients or the facilities or the healthcare professionals who are supposed to service them, and by rampant, horrifying corruption. South African doctors and nurses are hailed the world over for their excellence, but for such a sad reason. They are so good at doing so much because they've been forced into impossible scenarios where they don't have the medical equipment or medical resources to do their jobs in the easy ways that are available in other parts of the world. But South African medical professionals are leaving because there aren't enough jobs to go around, and the jobs in particularly public healthcare are so awful. They are so burnt out and overworked, and whenever they try to speak up about awful conditions, they are slammed and taken out as evil whistleblowers by the Department of Health. And so many of them are leaving the country because the skill set that they have and the studies that they did condemns them to a really awful, depressing, debilitating life. And now the ANC government wants you to vote for them because they're going to create a national health insurance fund that's going to provide the money for all South Africans to get healthcare. But they have nearly destroyed the public healthcare service. It's like that husband trying to save his marriage.
Yeah, that's true. So if this passes, though, yeah, medical aids are in trouble. But this, I understand it is a good idea. Just that it's not an idea that should be implemented on now, right? I think the logical thing would be to start improving the healthcare facilities that are already under the government, because now at this point government can't be taking in more responsibility whereas they can't deal with the current responsibilities they have with regards to healthcare. So it is a good initiative on paper, but to be implemented now, I don't think it will be the right time. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in public healthcare facilities. Then as soon as we can get those sorted, I think maybe then the time to discuss NHI could come. But I'm gonna read more on this. I think maybe something might be deeper. I'm gonna try to get more information regarding NHI. So I'd like to hear your take, though, if you might be interested in this conversation. What is your take? Do you think it's something that should be implemented now? Do you think maybe we should wait on it a bit? Or do you think maybe we should accelerate and further move forward? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.